Coming up this week on the Nintendo Directors podcast, we are joined by special guest Luke Marlow to discuss the deluge of new Switch games announced in 2 recent Nintendo Directs. We also reminisce about our personal top 5 gaming achievements, slobber over the fancy new Super Smash Bros. Controller, and more.
Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Brad.
We're 2 middle school band directors.
And you're listening to
Nintendo Directors.
Alright, greetings and welcome to another Nintendo Directors podcast. This is episode 3030. It is September 6th of the year 2018 when you're going to be getting this. Today is not September 6th, and I don't even know what the date is. It's actually September 2nd. Yes. And we're all at when I say we are all, I mean we, including our special guest. But I'll do quick introductions. My name is Mark Lego, and I'm here with my co-host Brad Beyer.
Greetings. And
our special guest for this week is Luke Marlow.
How's it going?
He's a band director at Comstock Park here in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and also a fellow Nintendo fan, which is great. We're all band directors. We wave sticks at kids for a living, and we like playing video games. So a few reminders that we are an every other week podcast. You can expect to get this every other Thursday. I say that so many times. Every other Thursday at 9 a.m., give or take. And this is a good episode. There's fun things to talk about.
Great.
Lots of Nintendo news things. They dropped a lot of games on us recently.
Yes.
And right after our last episode recorded.
Literally, yeah.
Immediately.
The next morning, yeah.
We posted, and then Nintendo said, games! It was like, oh, well, we can't talk about that. So if you missed, I did do some quick hitters on the UK Direct. It's not what they didn't call it a Direct. An Indies highlight video. That did a quick hitters of that on our Facebook page if you want to check that out. Otherwise, you don't have to, because that was kind of ham-fisted and not very good. So, but this is going to be slightly ham-fisted and okay. So,
story of my life.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we're gonna get things running here. So, on with the news. News this week is brought to you by Fluffy Puff Marshmallows.
Please explain. I like those, maybe.
Homestar 10.
Oh, yes.
Homestar 10.
It's been a long time since
I pretty much won the show. Okay, we can keep going, but we shouldn't. Let's get on with the news.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
Man.
Homestar Runner. Yeah.
Old school.
Great. All right. So, Brad, why don't you take it away?
Oh, gosh. Okay, so obviously the biggest news that came out this week was we actually had 2 Nintendo Directs in a week, which is kind of insane. They were both Nindies Directs, although one was kind of centered on European, from the UK, I guess, and then one was for the rest of us, I guess. Except, I think those games are coming out too. I don't really understand how that all worked, but...
Can I just say really quick about those 2 things? The 2 Indies highlight videos was I liked the UK one better. I liked the presentation of it. I thought it looked cool. It was succinct. It was just one game to the next. Yeah. And the one that was released by Nintendo of America, which was a week after, I like that they acknowledged that the other one happened. It was like, hey, this is part 2. These are the next.
Right.
And there was all new games. It was great. And anyone that complains about Nintendo not having new games or why didn't that Direct show anything Smash related? You're stupid. We've had our Smash Directs. They've given us a lot of information.
There will be more.
There will be more. Yeah, absolutely. So I loved the presentation quality of the UK one. The Nintendo of America one felt like very Nintendo of America. It was we have our host and we talk about things. I liked the just quick hitters of the UK one, but it was cool. What did we get? 25 games?
Just crazy.
It's awesome. So, anyways, okay. Let's talk about those games.
Yeah, let's do that. So, it just the chronology of how this happened. There are a couple of other stories we'll get to, but let's just focus on the games for now. For the Direct, we'll come back to those. Okay, so I think we are in agreement in talking before the show. There was one game that kind of stood out among
the star. Absolutely.
Maybe a little unassuming, but and maybe a little lacking in originality when it comes to the title. But
stick with that title. Stick with it.
This is the literally untitled Goose Game.
It needs to stay untitled.
It's titled Untitled Goose Game.
Yes. That can't be a working title. Please, that's not a space filler. Be that.
So it's like the opposite of Octopath Traveler. It's a bad good name.
This is so bad that it's perfect.
Exactly.
Yes.
Octopath Traveler is just bad, but
it is. It works kind of when you know the name thing, the acronym. But whatever, it's still not that great. But this Untitled Goose Game, stay that, and I'm buying this game.
It looks really charming.
It's its own genre of goose annoyer.
My childhood,
or just human annoyer as goose. It's being an annoying kid as a goose, and you honk at them, and then you grab their sandwich and throw it in the water, and it looks great. I'm all about the Untitled Goose Game.
And then you get these like random little objectives that you don't know why they're written down on a piece of paper because you're a goose.
Maybe
and
we'll find out later.
maybe there's some kind of. Any thoughts on this, Luke? Have you looked at this really at all?
No, I think it looks fun. It reminds me of my childhood as well. I feel like the next thing's going to be middle school band kid.
Exactly.
Simulator. And you got to
throw the paper plane in the tuba.
Turn your music upside down and go, I don't know that note.
Yeah.
And
that's got to be the next step for that guy. Do you remember that video from middle school band?
We're stopping talking about this right now. This is our own proprietary we're making this happen. There's RPG Maker coming out on the Switch coming up in the spring, so let's make that happen.
Middle school band kid. That's it.
I'd play that.
Yeah, for sure.
We lived it. We live it every day now on the other end.
Yeah.
Good stuff. But yeah, Goose Game. Man, this looks really fun. Just...
What genre is it? What do you call it?
I don't know. My question is, I want to know the backstory of how somebody came up with it. They're like,
it doesn't feel...
I wonder if it's based on real experiences or if it's just...
but yeah, like a goose that annoyed this person.
Right.
I want to be that.
Honestly, I think it comes from like the simplicity of certain phone games that people love nowadays.
True.
They love to have this little mobile thing. It's kind of brainless, but can be good.
Yeah.
There's
Goat Simulator-esque.
Right. Yeah, where it's just this. Do we really need a premise? Do we really need a backstory?
We do, written in cursive on notebook paper.
Right.
Yeah, but, it looks fun.
Yeah.
I'm excited for it. It'll be fun. I'll play it.
So that was Goose Game.
Yeah, that's my main story from this one.
Very good. Very good. Love it. Okay, so there were some other games. Obviously, a lot of these are games that came to the other various platforms via Steam or PS4, Xbox One, or whatever. Mostly Steam, and then now they're coming to the Switch because that's a popular thing to do these days. So we'll try to. Well, there's a lot of games though, so we're gonna try to just lightning round through a lot of this stuff. But things like Hyper Light Drifter. That's been around for a long, long time.
Yep.
You played it, Mark?
I haven't played it, but if it ever goes on sale, I would definitely consider getting it on Switch. I'm guessing the price point is probably going to be like $20 because I think it was like all content ever released for it in this package. But it's a really good-looking game. So
that pixel style is pretty.
They do it well.
Mm-hmm. So. Let's see. Treasure Stack. This one took me by surprise a little bit because I personally had never seen anything like it, although it sounds like It
reminds me of Wario's Woods, which was a really good game on the NES where you were Toad running around inside of a tree while Wario threw different pieces of fruit and stuff down on top of you, and you had to stack those there were bombs as well, and you had to try... It was Tetris-y.
Right, it's like if somebody was running inside your Tetris game.
Exactly.
Moving things around.
Yeah, so it really, really fun game. So I'm excited for this one. It looks like it's multiplayer up to 4-player. I don't know if that'll be wireless or couch co-op, but that I would have loved to have played Wario's Woods. I think it could go 2-player, but to do 4-player would be a lot.
Do you know how it works? Because if you basically you have the first thing where it comes down, and you have to direct where you want that to be, right?
Yep.
And then how does it switch control? How does it switch control to the person in the?
I think you're controlling both. I think you
right stick, left stick kind of thing.
Maybe it wasn't clear to me.
Okay,
but it looks fun. Yeah. So also Towerfall is coming out, which if you like the competitive craziness of Smash in an archery type game, Towerfall is it. That looks really fun. I'm excited for Towerfall.
And they're adding a new 6-player battle mode.
Yeah,
it was only four before, right?
That looks chaotic and great. So,
and there's also, if you've ever played Celeste, the game came out earlier this year. They're including Madeline from that game in there as well.
That game and Celeste looked great. If any of you ever played Celeste, please let us know what your thoughts were on it. It looked good. I'd love another reason to buy it. But
Another reason?
yeah, because it looks great. If someone else says,
yeah, that's what I think I
get
bought
it.
it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I hear it's viciously difficult though.
Yeah,
in many places, but
so Towerfall, that'll be out September 27th, later this month. That's
very
great.
soon. Very soon. Again, Mark or Luke, feel free to chime in on any of these that you feel that I don't want to leave you out there. But Zarvat, did you look into this one?
I'm looking at it right now. It's cubes playing in a very cubey, pixelated world. Essentially looking like
battle thing.
You're playing, ramming each other combat from the Atari.
It's the Cubelition Derby.
Yeah, how how do you describe that?
It's a demolition derby.
It reminds me almost of the ridiculousness of like a Mario Kart battle mode.
Sure,
almost, but no weapons.
And
just hit
each other.
Cubes driving into each other, and all their exhaust is like little pixel cubes.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. This is a game that has to be priced right, but
right for sure
could be good. So
yeah, awesome. Okay, Mineko's
Sure.
Night Market. This is a weird cat game.
Yeah, cat game.
And you played cat games before, right?
Yeah, Cat Quest. Cat Quest was great. That was so fun.
I don't think there's anything like that.
It's nothing like it. But it's very charming looking, and you run around as this girl getting things, I think, to sell in a night market. It's narrative driven. That's all. That's really what I know.
Tell you what,
a little
that
sketchy. Where do the cats come in?
You got a big cat friend,
She does. It's kind of like a Totoro with a mask, with like a Koroxy mask.
right?
I don't know. It could be good. It looks cute. I don't know if there's going to be any like if it's rated E. Like if this is a game that to me looks like I would get and play with my kids.
Sure.
So.
Awesome. Samurai Gun 2.
I don't think it looks good at all. That's what I'm going to say. That's terrible.
Great.
But that doesn't look good at all.
It is a video game. Okay.
It's very retro looking, but
yeah,
I didn't like the look of it.
Yeah, I wasn't terribly won over by it either. Bullet Age, that actually looks pretty decent. It's a co-op kind of action game. It's like 2D post-apocalyptic whatever, and but I really like the art style a lot. It looks really a really nice 2D style.
Cool.
Let's see. Levelhead. This was really interesting. This is sort of like off-brand Mario Maker, I think.
Yeah, that's a good way
you
of putting it.
You can do it 4 players. You can build the same level for 4 players at once.
That's great. That's like adding a Minecraft, like hosting a server element to it. Mm-hmm. That's great.
Which, side note, if and when Mario Maker does come to the Switch, that should definitely be a feature.
Wait for the next dry period of releases. Then
Right,
gotta
right.
just dump it. Because why wouldn't you have that game on the Switch? But
Absolutely.
Cash cow.
yeah, definitely.
For real. King of the Hat. Oh, this was a weird one. This one...
I think it looks so dumb. It looks to me like a person who made their first game. And like, it's kind of a fun little element, like the gameplay element in it.
It's just like in real life. You jump on people's hats.
Yes, it's Team Fortress 2 combined with someone's first game.
Right.
Because Team Fortress 2 is just hats at this point.
Right.
I mean, I think it looks bad.
Yeah.
It's like a practice. It's like Goombas practicing not getting
Right.
Yeah.
It does have a little bit of Mario.
Don't get hit.
There's a little bit of Mario in that screenshot there.
A little
in the background. Yeah.
I mean, in terms of the
Up
landscapes
the hills
and
and
stuff.
stuff. The player that you play with looks like it was drawn by mouse in Microsoft Paint.
Right. Or by me in general, because that's
I
because
can't
you wouldn't
draw that well.
Side note, did I ever tell you a story that I have a teaching certificate in the state of Tennessee for art?
Wow.
It's it's a funny story. I at one time I was looking for jobs, and when I was first trying to get a job, and I had some family down in Tennessee, and so I was like, well, just in case I get a job there, I should probably try to apply for a teaching certificate. So I applied for a Tennessee music teaching certificate, and Michigan teaching certificates are kind of like gold down there, so they're just like, here you go. I don't even know if I'd pay very much. It was just a little bit of money, and then they sent it to me. But it came back, and it was for visual arts instead of music. And so I called them. I was like, Nobody would like me to teach their child to do art. Trust me. Nobody.
Man, you could go and mess up some kids.
Right. So, we're so sorry. We'll send you a new one. So they sent me a new one, but they never took the old one back. So
sweet, man.
I am sure it's expired by now, but for a good probably 4 or 5 years there, I was certified, man. I could. Anyway,
that's awesome.
I could legally teach art.
Right. I have not been banned from teaching this subject. Okay, and then we got to Untitled Goose Game, which we were there at before. And then even just in the Direct itself, they just listed off a ton of games without really even going into hardly any detail. Desert Child, Wasteland 2 Director's Cut, Bastion, The Messenger. Actually, The Messenger's out right now.
Yes. Yes.
Are you going to get it?
I haven't gotten it yet. I'm waiting till I get paid on Thursday.
Really
good.
It looks great.
I'm
Ninja Gaiden with 8-bit, 16-bit switching and everything.
Right. And last time we talked about it, I didn't realize that it had that switching element to it.
Yeah,
where
I didn't either.
Where it does that time travel thing. It goes not only moves forward time in the game, but it's switches art styles.
Yeah.
It was pretty.
My only complaint is that I've read that there's some Metroidvania elements in it, and I don't want that in a Ninja Gaiden game.
Really?
I want to just slash my way through levels, finish the level, go to the next level.
Oh,
I don't want to keep retracing my steps in a Ninja Gaiden game.
See, I don't love Ninja Gaiden, but the idea of a Metroidvania appeals to me more.
Okay.
Because I'm bad at video games. That's the reason why I'm bad, by the way. So if I can survive and do those things, that'd be great.
I think Bastion is going to be great. Because I played that about halfway through on my old laptop. And it just I stopped playing it, and I don't know why, because I loved it. So
I've never played any of those games. This is is that kind of like a Fire Emblem strategy type thing?
No, it's definitely more action oriented, but it's a really cool world with a great narrator. So
cool.
Yeah, excited for that one.
All right, so we had The Messenger, Undertale. That's still coming. I think that was announced previously. Have you played Undertale?
Yep. Have you guys?
I haven't. What did you think of it?
Please tell. Please go on.
Did you go pacifist?
No.
Okay.
But no, it's fun. It's a good game.
I've heard it's very clever and very...
Yeah, it's quirky. It's fun. It's it'll make you laugh.
Yeah.
You know?
It's what Earthbound would be if it was made today, correct?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay.
That's a interesting comparison.
Okay.
Yeah, it's hard to say
without spoiling.
Without just going and trying it.
Right.
You know,
right.
it's
I hear it's better to go in without knowing much about that game.
Yeah. It's fun. I like it a lot.
Awesome. Jackbox Party Pack 5. That's coming out in October. Transistor. That's from I think Supergiant Games. That's coming in November. And Dragon Marked for Death. And then Light Fingers, Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery EP.
Yeah, that's I've got that on my phone.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was when it became it almost became known in the community. Well, I mean, in the community, it was known as Pound Sorcery for a while because of hashtag SWOR sorcery, Pound Sorcery.
Okay.
So it was the hashtag for a while, but a lot of people started calling it Pound Sorcery because of that.
Interesting.
But it's a cool game. I don't know if I'd get it on the Switch, but it's because I think it came out in like 2012 or something.
Okay,
but it was good.
Anyone heard about Wargroove? Has anyone seen if Wargroove is coming out?
That sounds familiar.
It's kind of looks like Advanced Wars-esque.
Oh.
Do you guys ever played Advanced Wars for like the Game Boy Advance or
Always
anything?
wanted to.
Yeah.
Super fun,
Heard
you know,
it's
and you build your troops and fight in an army.
It's
and stuff.
turn-based.
It's turn-based strategy, kind of like Fire Emblem is, but it's this one's supposed to take place in more fantasy times rather than like tanks and stuff. You get a dragon,
Sure.
or you get guys with swords instead of guns. So.
I was really close to buying Advanced Wars on the Wii U, but then I couldn't get over the fact that it was on the Wii U, and it was like they had to do like the handheld thing with the
Yeah.
I just wanted it on my 3DS, and then so
But they're good games. I like them, so I'm looking forward to Wargroove.
Awesome.
They announced that probably 6 months ago.
Oh, cool.
I don't know when it comes out though.
What was that mech game that just released? It just released the day of that Direct. It was like at the end of it, they said, "Oh, and this is available now."
Oh,
How
that
did we not
wasn't.
know this?
That wasn't. No, it wasn't the Ex Machina one that we totally screwed up in the E3 Direct, was it?
No. Which I'm excited about that game now.
Really?
I've been reading more and more about it. I'm really excited. But what was that?
I don't know.
Well, it was like Battle Nexus or something. I don't know.
They did release Morphe's Law.
That was released,
We talked about that, or you talked about that one briefly.
Yeah, like the last one had like Monster Boy, which had that really cool animation sequence, like trailer for it that was anime sequence.
Okay.
But Guard in Between looked good. Bad North is one that I'm definitely getting at some point. I'm trying to think. What was it called? I'm totally blanking on it.
The last new game that they announced was Into the Breach.
Into the Breach.
Is that it?
Yes.
Okay.
That just released. They said it's available now.
Gotcha. That's from the team behind FTL.
Yes, it looks good.
Really, it's been on Steam for a little while now, but yeah, I think is it so it's released? Yeah, it's available now.
Yeah,
and that's the sort of the grid-based, strategic, futuristic war game.
It looks good.
Yeah, I'm into those.
We got there.
Yeah, sorry, I jumped ahead, and it was coming. I didn't see it on the list there, but
no, you're good. Okay, so that's kind of the basic stuff from the Direct. So there's some. It's often interesting to think about the Nindies Directs. They're great because they almost always have something for everybody, and just the crazy whackness, and then Goose Game. So
Goose Game.
That's good.
Enough said.
Enough said. All right, so just topping off a couple other quick stories here. Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle has sold over 2 million copies. It just happened a couple of days ago.
It is a good game.
It is.
I get it.
And yeah, I mean, if you haven't played it, go check it out.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It is so much fun. I didn't think it would work.
It worked
when they announced
so well.
it.
I know.
I was like, what?
Yep.
No way.
Yep.
That's great.
It's XCOM meets Rabbids and Mario, and yeah.
I played a couple of hours of that. I think I borrowed it from the library at one point or whatever. It's good.
You can borrow it from the library?
Yeah.
Where have I been?
Oh man, you're right. By the way, we're at Luke's place recording, and Luke literally lives 1 minute walk from the library.
It's about 2.5.
Okay. there's a Poke Gym there, so it's
right.
It's a Poke Stop.
It's a Poke Stop. Sorry. Luke, but yeah, they have great Switch games there. Seriously, you got to go. I know,
dude. Is that bad that I walk to the library every day and have not yet stepped a foot inside of the public library?
You've gone there for the Poke Stop, but never wants to go in. That's hilarious. No, go in. Now you just need to go in and get the Switch game and walk out.
Although if your Switch, like if it's like at your library, like it's at the one near me, there's gazillions of PS4 games, gazillions of Xbox One games, like 4 Switch games.
And they're usually
but it's because they're all checked out. It's because it's so popular.
Yeah.
Especially for a lot of kids and stuff. So they have lots of them. It's just they check
get
out.
like Street Fighter 2.
But you can put them on hold and stuff too. Yeah, it's great.
Great.
I played a lot of games like that this summer.
Axiom Verge is there.
Yeah. Congrats to Kingdom Battle. That's awesome. I can almost guarantee, I think that's for sure we're going to get some kind of a sequel on that.
There has to.
Down the line.
They've had some DLC, but they haven't had
they just not too long ago.
Yeah, I can see a sequel for sure. It'd be fun.
I'm just glad for them that it has taken off like that because of the reaction to it initially. It was bad. And then I don't think we're going to do this first story because it doesn't really.
Yeah, let's skip that.
But let's get on to the slobber-inducing pictures that we've seen of the official Super Smash Bros. Pro controller for the Switch this last week. Going to be bundled with the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Collector's Edition, but I think there are some retailers who are also going to be selling it separately, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I thought I heard Best Buy.
Doesn't matter.
You're gonna get it anyway. See, but I'm in the same boat that you were, Mark, when Octopath Traveler was happening because I don't want to buy the physical version of this game. I want
the special extras.
Right.
I don't want the actual game. I want to download the game.
Yeah.
But I don't want to pay to get the game twice.
Exactly. Exactly. Then again, I've got like 4 GameCube controllers, and we're probably just still going to use those. So
this is my first. Actually, I somehow missed this
I'll
news.
definitely still use a game.
Okay.
This is the first time I'm looking at it, and yeah, it looks really pretty. I like it.
I mean, any Pro controller is great.
The other thing is, the Pro controller. I remember when my friend Chris got a Switch, and he goes, "Is it worth getting the Pro controller?" And I was like, "You're playing through Breath of the Wild right now, and you don't have a Pro controller, dude. You're out of your mind."
I did the first 100 hours of the game with like that.
Yeah. And then when you get the Pro controller, it changes the game for you. Like,
it feels so much better. And they're like,
buttons
it's so
are so much
expensive.
Yep.
Well,
It is a high price tag, yeah.
And the battery life is really great on it.
It's awesome.
Like, it lasts a really long time, and you can just use USB-C that you can use on it, so you can literally use your Samsung phone charger to charge it. Yeah, it's a great thing, and to have two of those for your one-on-one Smash games,
definitely
must have.
Excellent controller. Yeah, I really enjoy my Pro Controller. It's great. But yeah, so that's coming, and man, again, I'm continually amazed how much stuff Smash, like, they just keep pouring on more information and new features and new stuff. And I can only they're gonna give it more. So there's got to be at least one more direct between now and the release of that game.
Probably 5 more.
Yes, somewhere in there.
One a day.
Yeah. But
just to prove that Sakurai is still alive.
It's also like, as if the hype train isn't real enough.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone has to get this game.
Has that man gotten a Lifetime Achievement Award yet? Like,
oh man, that guy
needs like 2.
He needs to never have to do anything the rest of his life. Like, someone should feed him, wipe him, and bathe him. Like, he doesn't have to work at all.
We're not talking about me, right?
No.
He's also. I'm also convinced that even though they just like, I'm almost convinced that Sauron had an extra ring of power, and he somehow got a hold of it.
Yeah,
because that man never ages.
I know. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Yeah.
Him and Hideo Kojima could just. They're just like. Those men. They look like they're 20.
If I were to work that much, I'd be dead by now.
Right.
Like, I don't know. It's insane, but yeah,
it's good. All right, my friends, that is the end of the news, and so we are going to move on to our next segment here. We're going
to segue. So moving into our top 5 is coming up next.
Top 5.
We're back with our top 5 lists, and this week is a really proud one for us because it is our top 5 most proud gaming achievements or moments or just overall games. But top 5.
Well, not overall games, but
yeah. Well, yeah.
What we're most proud of doing in games.
Yes. Yeah.
Not necessarily like it may not be special to you, but for us, it's special to us.
So top 5 most proud gaming moments, achievements, and we're going to start off with some honorable mentions. But why don't we go Luke, Brad, me? We'll go in that order. So,
great.
Luke, honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. Great. My honorable mention was I love Super Smash Brothers, as we talked about earlier, and I was like, well, I don't know how many great achievements you can have on that once you can beat 3.
All the challenges.
Okay, I've done that. But,
there you go.
I don't know. I feel like there's more to it. And the most I could think of was when I was in high school. I went to a Super Smash Brothers tournament at the local library that apparently rents out games. And I got second place.
All right.
In a group of probably 100 kids.
Nice.
And that's what got me pretty serious about I'm going to be really good at this game.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, which days was that, in the Brawl days or the Melee days? Or
that was in... Brawl was out, but the tournament was on Melee.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, because then you don't trip for no reason. Then you don't.
If it was Brawl, I had to be Project M. So
right.
Yeah.
I don't think Project M was quite out yet.
Okay, then Melee's the only option.
There you go.
Right. That's what the tournament was.
Yeah. Good.
So
awesome. So, did you have any more honorable mentions, or was that?
That was just my only one.
Okay, so I got a couple. I'll just go here. In Mario Galaxy, I was very proud of the fact that I was able to get all 242 stars. That's after you go through the entire game, get all the stars, then you have to go through the entire game as Luigi.
Ones?
Yeah, to get the green ones. So you can get 242 total. And then Mario Odyssey, long-time listeners will remember that I was able to get all 999 Power Moons there.
Even the jump rope?
Even the jump.
Even the volleyball.
Even the volleyball.
Man,
It took
props to
so
you, my
many
man.
hours. Yeah.
How much regret is associated with getting that?
The jump rope a little bit, but the other ones, not so much.
Did you use the scooter, or did you do it?
No, I tried the scooter for a little bit,
Yeah.
but it was just, eventually one day I just got lucky.
Those were the only two I didn't get. And then I was
Really?
like, you know what? I'm okay with it. I beat the fun part of the game.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that evil jump rope. Evil.
I think I ended at like 715 or something. I was like, I'm good.
That's pretty good.
I'm good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then I also can claim to fame that I was able to 100% Wind Waker on the GameCube,
All right.
which means that I got every picture of every character in the game, and then but at that time, before the Wii U version, you could only take 3 pictures at a time. So
Oh man.
so you
I
had
didn't know
to
that.
take the pictures,
Yep.
warp to the
It was-
Deku area, boat over there,
Oh,
go up the
man.
thing, go there, go down in the little cavern thing, let it load, then open it up, then
Wait.
talk to the guy, and then
Wait.
It's absolutely brutal.
Were you even in college at this point? Was it like senior year of high school maybe?
It might have been around there.
Because, man,
Yeah.
did you just like fail that semester? Jeez.
Gosh, it took quite a while, but I managed to do it. In fact, I remember doing it, beating the game, and then I think I had missed, because that was also the game where you could miss some of the bosses and stuff. And so I realized that after I got about probably 92% or so through the game.
Did you start a new?
I sure did.
Oh my goodness.
That is dedication.
It's
I mean,
something.
I finished the game. Right. I did finish the game, but then I, started over with the new. Because actually, now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure in the GameCube version you had to. That was the only way to get all of the statues was to go because that was the only way you could transfer the color pictograph to your new save file, so that you could get like the first boss and some of those other things that you wouldn't get before you do them. Anyway,
As someone who loves old games, I love old games. Gaming is so much better now.
agreed.
So much better.
So I take some special pride in that, and then I'm gonna cheat here a little bit, and I'm gonna say that I'm proud of the fact that I'm going to 100% Breath of the Wild, even though I haven't done it quite yet.
All right. I won't.
Get good.
Yeah.
Right?
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, this is from the guy who
Is that gonna be
did
in
it.
yours?
Oh
No.
Okay. Well, yeah. Luke is already 100% in his in like a month. So
Yeah.
From release, yep.
great. All right. So my honorable mention. If you've heard me on this wax poetically about Kirby's Epic Yarn with my daughter before, that was just a great proud moment. Was beating Kirby's Epic Yarn with my daughter. So that was great. Also beat 9 Parchments recently with my wife, and that was a lot of fun. We've played a lot of games together through the years, but we may have had the most fun and also the most frustration with that game. But beating that game felt fantastic. And then my last honorable mention would be playing all the way through Tecmo NBA basketball with my brothers, in that we all had a set number of teams and played every game on the schedule, 82 games per team.
Wow.
Per 30 teams in the NBA at that point, I think. So you do the math. That's a lot of games. So we
So you all watched each other play all those games?
Yeah, we'd play against each other, and if we had to play against
I
our
see.
own, if our own teams were playing against each other, then you just like simulate the game. And run
Gotcha.
it. So,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Huh.
So that was it. I think I worked it out. The math was like it's like 11 days of game time, something like that. So.
That's a lot of time.
It's dedication. All right. So, all right. We'll go for number 5s all the way around.
Yeah.
Great. That's actually a great transition into my number 5,
All right.
which was beating all the teams on NBA Hang Time for the Nintendo 64 with my best friend Caleb.
Nice.
And we, just for years and years and years, we sucked. We were awful. We could never beat all the teams. We'd lose a couple times, be like, this sucks. And then one time, is several years later, we always played, but we never had enough time. We're like, we're just going to stay up all night and we're going to beat every single team. And we're just going to play this game for, 12 to 15 hours.
Oh, my
And we
word.
did. And we beat every single team in a row. And the only regret I have is that there's probably still a mark on my thumb. Nintendo 64 controller.
Wow.
But yeah, that was a
That's awesome.
good moment to say we finally did it. After...
So did you actually beat the teams, or did you like find those awesome NES glitches where you could just
No, we didn't cheat. We didn't use. We didn't turn the difficulty down or anything. Had it max, And
we had a previous episode about all of the great, exploitations that we've made of older games. I remember some of my were like exploiting the NES World Cup Soccer and just the field long passes into the end zone or into the goal. Or That's great. Okay, cool. So my number 5 is appropriately a 5th entry in this series, sort of. It's Metal Gear Solid 5, and I know that's not a Nintendo game, but I don't care because it's a great game. And I just in the last 2 months or so, I finally was able to 100% that game, which it probably close to 300 hours to be honest. But it's fantastic game. You had to go through and you had to S rank all of every single mission. You had to do all 157 side ops. You had to find all of the you create a zoo essentially, so you had to capture all of these different animals, and you have to find all these memento photos and picture just everything. But when you have a game that you really enjoy, you're looking for more things to do. So I was pretty proud of that.
Sweet.
Also got the platinum. So.
All right. Nice. My number 5 was when I finally broke through and beat Contra on the original NES. Beat the original Contra with no Konami code and no continues. So with the 3 lives you get in the beginning, you get some extra lives as you go throughout. But beating that game without any continues, that was like bragging rights in the neighborhood. And there were a couple people in my neighborhood that did it, but when I finally broke through and did it myself, it was like, that's right. That's right. I am now on the top of the mountain with the other couple kids that have done it. So, Contra with no code or continues. That's my number 5.
Very cool. My number 4 was on the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare, getting 150 headshots with every single gun in the game. So I got all the golden coated weapons unlocked. And that took a long time because sometimes, you'd be like, great, I'm not going to get too many headshots with this silenced PPSH or mini Uzi.
Right. There's a lot of weapons,
and then some games you're like, great, I got 35 headshots with that sniper rifle. Now I got to go get, 150 with this really terrible shotgun that takes 4 shots to kill someone.
Wow.
So that was cool. Just a lot of time and
back when you had a lot of time.
Yeah, I was in high school and my friend again Caleb and I would go, okay, cool. I'm gonna get headshots and you go practice.
Me,
and we'd have our instruments out and
there you go.
We did.
That's great.
Nice. Side note, was that Caleb Elzinga?
Yes, that's Caleb Elzinga.
I just got to know him this summer. He's working with us at Byron. So.
Yeah, he's awesome.
It's great. All right. So for me, I'm going to go back to what we were just talking about last week. We talked about one of my favorite boss fights of all time is the Metroid Prime fight on Metroid Prime. But once you beat that game, you can go back and you can play it on hard mode, which generally was actually not as much fun as playing it through the original. It's just so frustrating. Yeah. But I was happy to finally make it through the entire game again on hard, and I beat the last boss on hard, which was stupidly difficult. That and the Omega Pirate were just I don't know how many lives.
That is tough. I actually was really disappointed when I did the hard mode because I didn't realize it would eliminate your original save file on the normal, and I was like, oh, I wanted to go back.
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah.
So I petered out like an hour and a half into the hard mode. I was like, this is hard. And I lost my original save file. And I don't want to play it anymore. So, I
think I 100% of that one. So I will, inevitably when Nintendo does release the Metroid Prime trilogy on Switch, when they do,
yes,
when I will never need to play on hard mode again because I've done that. I just because it's not as much fun for me.
No, it's not.
And I don't want to not have fun in one of my favorite games ever. So
yeah. All right, my number 4 is one of my favorite games of all time. Well, my favorite time with Breath of the Wild is Final Fantasy VI. Was when you get to the final dungeon and that you split up your team into. That's why it's important to level up all your characters and not just like power level. So I would split up my group, and you'd split up into 3 groupings of 4 characters to work your way through the final dungeon. And what I wound up doing was leveling up so far that I beat it with only putting 1 character into each of those groups and working my way through the dungeon with just 1 character in each. So you'd have to, it was as far as an achievement, it's not hard to do unless it's just putting in the time.
Yeah,
but it felt great to have those characters that powerful. Yeah, and then you get to the final boss, you're fighting with 3. And I wish I could only fight it with 1 because I was convinced that my Celeste could take out Kefka solo. But because I leveled her up to level 88, and she was a beast. It was awesome. You couldn't hurt her. It was fantastic. So yeah, Final Fantasy VI 3-character finish for me. Cool.
Sweet. Number 3. Mine is from the Monster Hunter series. I'm a huge Monster Hunter fan.
Foreshadowing. All right. Yes.
Okay. And for Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate, if anyone's ever played the Monster Hunter series, you know that the learning curve is brutal. They are not very forgiving.
That's what I hear.
It's you suck, and they'll make you know you suck. And as you slowly get better, you still make mistakes. The dumb mistake, you drink the potion at the wrong time, you flex, and then all of a sudden, boom, you're one shot, you're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. And it's a very frustrating thing. But for me, I finally soloed the G rank Elatrion, which sounds like mumbo jumbo to a lot of people, but it's a really difficult monster to beat. It's an Elder Dragon, and to fight it on G rank by yourself, I felt like that was a big achievement for me. I was like, okay, maybe I don't suck super bad at this game. And then you go triple card on the next
Right, because
fight.
from what I understand about Monster Hunter is that you're supposed to play that in groups of at least 3 or 4, or at least with friends.
We'll talk about that.
Okay.
Cool.
Very good. Okay, so my number 3 takes me back to the N64 days with GoldenEye 64. And
I think I know where you're going with this.
I love this game, but maybe it was actually probably like 10 years ago now, but I regained a copy of it somewhere, and I started playing it, and I decided to go for every cheat in the game. And if you remember from GoldenEye 64, there weren't just codes that you could write in, and so you actually had to complete. It was basically achievements before, like rewards for achievements before there were achievements.
Some of those were so hard.
Some of them were absolutely insane, but the ones that I'm most proud of are obviously the 2 hardest ones. Doing the archives, complete, like you had to do it in a very short amount of time.
Like 2 minutes or something.
Yeah, stupid. So you couldn't really get a gun or something, and you had to just go slap her and just try to but you had to do that hostage situation in the upstairs and stuff, and that was really hard. I think that was for infinite ammo, but the invincibility cheat was locked behind the facility in 2 minutes and 5 seconds. And
so hard.
I will admit that I did have to, consult a strategy online, but even then, it took so much because there's some RNG at the end of the level. You had to get, was it Dr. Doak? He has to be in the exact right spot for you.
Right.
There's like 3 different spots that he can be in. So if you get through the first thing and just completely don't mess it up, then he has to be in the right place, and then Alec Trevelyan in the last room also has to be doing the right things. You have to get him to move in the right place. I tried so hard for so long, and I just couldn't do it. But then finally I did it, and I beat it by 6 seconds.
Nice.
I don't even know.
that was a neighborhood group achievement in my neighborhood. So doing solo and getting all of them, that's nice.
Yeah, it was, but it was still pretty fun. You had to master that technique of go side running. It was strafing, but it was strafing, but it was back and forth, almost like snaking.
Yeah,
right.
In Mario Kart, but
foreshadowing for mine.
Right. There you go. So I was pretty proud of that. It was really fun looking back on that, and once you got the invincibility cheat, you're like, a god.
Yeah, it was great.
And I really like that they did that. There are several things that included that GoldenEye did that a lot of games in modern days haven't done, just being able to have those cheats behind, or scaling difficulty by adding objectives, those kind of things.
Yeah.
I think more games should do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I was really disappointed with the Wii version of the GoldenEye remake because the time trial modes, they didn't, which is essentially what that was.
Right.
They didn't give you anything for them.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did I just spend an hour working on this level to get better at it? You didn't give me anything.
Just like getting 100% on Breath of the Wild. Or
you get
come on now. You can't say that till you've done it,
right? You don't get to be upset about it now. I get to live it.
So anyway.
And did you know the quick side note about GoldenEye that the multiplayer was like a very last second addition to that game? It was not intended.
Really?
Yeah, it was like very last minute. They're like, I guess that'd be kind of fun.
That was. And it was.
It was 60 or 70% of the game,
And spawn camping.
Yes. Oh, you're the worst if you do that. This is the worst.
No, isn't that how it was invented from that game?
Yes.
It was that game, and that went, you literally spawn there every time.
Yeah.
Great.
This is spawns in a pattern, and you just know to run there. Yeah, and then that was when they said, you need to start with a weapon. right. You just spawn, and it's like, I'm being shot. I don't have a gun. Neat. Cool. All right. Okay, moving on. My number 3 is, speaking of snaking, Mario Kart DS. And for nearly a decade, being a band director of a competing band, we would go to state finals down in Detroit, and it's a 3-hour bus ride there, 3-hour bus ride back. For nearly a decade until not enough people had a DS anymore. We would play Mario Kart DS the entire bus ride down and the entire bus ride back. I never lost for a decade. Then
even a single match?
I would lose a match here or there, but by the end, I'd be in second place. By the end, the point total, I'd have like 380 points. Second place would be at like 110, and it was just like all these students just getting schooled. It's like classes in session until the final 2 years it happened. Wow, Bethany Mazurek was really close to beating me. She was incredible at it. She was really good. So she was a great player. And then finally I lost to Judson Walsh.
Yes.
Judson, yes. And
that game was ridiculous.
I don't know because it got to the point where for the last 8 years of playing it, I only played it once a year on the bus. And I don't know if he was in practice with it or not, but he beat me. And, and convincingly. Not destroyed me, but beat me.
Right.
Yeah. So
did it hurt? Did the fall hurt?
It did.
So you've never done it since then? Is that
I don't think I have. My DS Lite was thrown out the bus window after that. No. But it was a decade of dominance, and then finally, the student became the teacher. So
there you go.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Number 2s.
Number 2 for me. This one wasn't really hard because I'd done all this before, but we tried to condense it into one summer, and we did. My friend and I got every single Zelda game that was ever released in the summer after our freshman year of college and beat all of them. And 100%ed all of them. The ones we didn't 100% was Spirit Tracks, which is a terrible game. It is not worth playing at all.
That's the one Zelda game I still haven't played yet.
Don't.
Because I got so distracted, so frustrated with Phantom Hourglass that I never finished that one.
I stopped 2/3 of the way through that one. I was like, I can't do that.
And it's really ironic because the only other one we didn't 100% was Wind Waker because of the pictures.
Really? On the GameCube, yeah.
And you're like, nah. What kind of idiot?
Right? You got it. You got it.
Anyway, that was kind of a cool achievement for us. I mean, we'd already beaten all of them except for Spirit Tracks, which was also, again, awful game. Do not play it. But the rest of them, it's like, we've done that. We know how to do this. And we were pounding through them so fast. We'd be like, yeah, we can beat Majora's Mask in a day. No problem.
A score out of 10, Zelda 2, Link's Adventure.
Out of 10 in comparison to the other games in the series? Or as a
game?
5.5.
I was going to say 6.
Yeah. I go 7.5.
Really?
It was very enjoyable. I really liked it.
I don't hate the game.
How do you define it's enjoyable? Okay.
I like the leveling up aspect of it, and like when you'd get up thrust or run into I am error, like
I mean, like
charm.
It's charm.
Yep.
But it's not my favorite game. At all.
Yeah.
See, I'm not a huge fan of RPGs in general, so that was.
I forget.
I mean, that's what I love about Zelda is that it's not an RPG. It's an action adventure type game, and that's what I lean towards more.
Okay.
But I did play it. I played it to completion. It's hard.
It is. Shadow Link. Oh, Shadow Link.
Well, unless you know the cheat.
Yeah.
Well,
We didn't cheat on it.
Never. Oh, it's my turn. Okay, number 2. So this one, Mario 3D World on the Wii U. I played that game, and I was able to beat Champions Road.
No, I almost don't believe it.
Yeah, it's like picks didn't happen.
Yeah.
Bullcrap, man.
Actually, I did it twice.
You did it
Whoa!
Twice.
What?
That's
You know
called
why?
consistency.
Yeah.
Because I
2 out of 500,000 tries.
I learned. Okay, first of all, it did take at least 4, maybe 500 lives to beat it, because that is
It's so
just
hard.
flipping.
Can you
flipping
please
ridiculous.
beat this and take a video of it and post it on our page?
I can show you I can open the file and show you
Okay.
what it is. But anyway, the reason I did it twice was because I found out that there's this cheat where, because there are people who are really insane and they beat every level of the game with every star with every character.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
5 characters of it. But there's also another kind of workaround where if you get to the end of the level and you have 4 controllers hooked up, or 5
Oh, you
controllers
just
hooked
plug
up,
them all
you
in.
just plug them all in and then have them all jump onto the flagpole, and there you go. You've beaten it with every character. So I did that with Champions Road after I'd beaten it
So
once.
you did it with every character.
Yes, with every character.
Who did you beat it with?
Mario.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That game is so.
See, I had more luck
underrated.
with Rosalina.
Sorry.
I had more luck with Rosalina.
See, my buddy and I, we were trying to play it that level. We were trying to beat it for the first time together, and he was using Rosalina, and he was having some success. But ultimately, I had played the whole game with Mario,
Right.
and I
You
knew
just used
the controls and the
feel
physics
it.
and everything. Yeah, the feel. So, what were you saying?
I just think that game is so underrated.
Oh.
I think people that crap on that game are idiots. Like, that game is so good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
You know, it's so much fun. I remember my roommate's girlfriend came over like every day. She lived upstairs in the dorms, and she would come down every day. And she goes, "Can I play Mario Kats?" she never played video games ever.
The cat
and
costume
she
is amazing.
loved this game. Yes, it was
Mario
so much
Kats.
fun.
Yeah, and you control each other if you're playing with your friends, and you're like, throw you off the edge.
Yeah.
You how did you die? And you're like, dude, come on. But if you were good, you could. I mean,
Yeah.
I could beat Champion Road with 2 people,
Hmm.
but that's easier than 1.
Right.
Soloing.
Because you can sit there and go, you try it.
Mhm.
You didn't make it. Okay, I'll just stand here so we can try without having to restart. It was a checkpoint, you know?
Yeah. Huh.
Cool.
Spent a lot of time in that, but it was good.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, my number 2 is I was the Tecmo Super Bowl neighborhood champ, and that was
Because
again,
of your use of.
Oh, well, I'll get
Okay,
there in
okay.
a second. So, but what happened was in my neighborhood we had a draft of teams. It was when I say neighborhood, it was my 2 other brothers and 1 kid in the neighborhood. We all got together one day and we chose teams, and we each got to have 7 teams. And what I remember, my teams, I had an AFC and NFC team that I loved. And we wound up playing every single game. We had to make sure that friend from the neighborhood was over, Matt Shevchek, if you're listening. And we would get together, and you'd be like, "Hey, Matt, you've got like 4 games today. You got to come over and play. You got 4 in a row." And then like if your teams played each other, you would simulate the game. Or if you really wanted one team to win, you'd play through it just as you're the team of your choice. But anyways. We got to the playoffs after playing every single game with every team.
That's so cool.
And it was great. And in the playoffs, I wound up getting my Houston Oilers into the Super Bowl from the AFC. I'm like, this is great. And in the NFC Championship game, it was Matt Shevchek with the San Francisco 49ers, like the powerhouse team, and me with the Green Bay Packers, a terrible team, except for their nose tackle, Bob Nelson, who could sack
Anybody.
I know. I think he had a 2-year career in the NFL. He was not good, but for some reason they made him fast enough that he could sack any quarterback on any play from under center. So all you had to do was press down. You had to be holding down, and then as soon as the ball was snapped, you press B, which would move you just off the center, snapping the ball, and B would dive through. the line, and you would slide forever like you were on a slip and slide and sack the quarterback in every play. So that forced the other player. Yeah, Bob Nelson. So that forced the other team to limit their playbook. You could change your plays, and in that game you had a playbook of 8 plays, and you could change them around. And if the other player picked your play while you're on the playbook screen, it was like the offensive line just gave up. They'd look at each other pre-snap and be like, I think they guessed it. Everybody lay down. Because it would just it would obliterate their team. Yep. What wound up happening was it was a 33% chance that you would pick their play because they were down to 3 shotguns. Because as Bob Nelson, they could not pick anything other than a shotgun because that was an eliminated play. So it was a 33% chance of the team lying down and you as a defense feasting on them. And then if you didn't pick it, Bob Nelson could still sack Joe Montana on probably half the plays. So it was a very limited amount of offensive plays that you would get. And so I beat the 49ers with the Green Bay Bob Nelsons. And and so the Super Bowl was me against me. And I was like, I won. And I remember walking around the neighborhood afterwards and with so much pride. Like I hadn't even played the Super Bowl yet. But I remember, everyone else in the neighborhood knew what was going on. And I was like, whoa. I won. I'm in the Super Bowl. It's me against me. And everyone is, giving me grief. They're just like, oh, that's stupid. What a waste of time. Like, that was a great 4 months leading up to me having the Houston Oilers against the Bob Nelsons. And I don't even know who I chose to win at this point. But whatever. That was... Yeah, I was the neighborhood champ. So.
Did you sign a football Bob Nelson and give it to yourself?
I should have. Yeah. So Bob Nelson led me to being the Tecmo Bowl Super Bowl neighborhood champ. So there we go. Number 1.
Number 1. This is tough. I wanted to pick a game that I 100%ed. There's a lot of games I 100%ed. I kept leaning towards Skyrim because I actually beat everything on Skyrim. And then I was like, it wasn't hard though. It took so many hours.
A lot of time.
And that's something, but I wanted something that was also really difficult to do. So I actually picked the game.
To be honest, you'd probably a fifth to maybe a quarter of that was just loading times, right?
Yeah. So the game I actually went with was the first game I ever 100%ed, and it took me, I think it was 180 hours to 100% it. And I didn't cheat. I didn't look online on how to do it. And it was for the GameCube, the Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Whoa. And there's 180 emblems you had to get, so about an hour an emblem. But I got 178 of them in 80 hours.
Yeah.
And the last 2 took me the next 100 hours. I was probably in 7th grade when this happened.
Gosh.
And the last 2 medals were the Chow Garden medals. You had to level up these chows like Pokemon and stuff. You'd have to collect stuff from levels, and you'd have to bring them back and feed them. And to get the final medal, you had to have this level 99 Chow. Now you could 100% the rest of the game, and your Chow would be level 20. and this was before you could go online right now and go, you feed these things in this order, and all of a sudden you'll get to level 99 in 4 hours or something. I didn't know what I was doing. So I like playing this level, and you'd play Green Hill Zone 400,000 times, getting the one thing you can feed the guy.
Man.
Yeah, but Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, and also the worlds aren't easy. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know the little tricks on those moving really fast stuff, and you don't execute it well, you're done. And the treasure tracking, there's treasure tracking worlds. If you don't get lucky and know where those, I know where that one is.
Right.
It took a long time. So I was really proud of that one. First game I 100%ed. I officially became a gamer.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's great. So when I was, for my number 1, we'll go back to the early days of the GameCube. I, of course, purchased my GameCube, and I got my Luigi's Mansion, and a few weeks later I got Smash and Pikmin. But then it was later on that I got to borrow from my cousin a little game called Super Monkey Ball. And
love Monkey Ball.
Before you could say Dusty Diamond's All-Star Softball, I was completely lost and hooked in that game. And my claim to fame, if you will, or my achievement that I am proud of is the fact that I was able to get through all of the master stages in that game. Now, if you don't understand the game, you get your 3 lives before you have to continue or something. And so there's beginner stages, there's 10 of them. And then there's intermediate stages, which there's 25. And then there's 50 expert stages. To get to the master stages, you have to beat all 50 expert stages. No, you have to beat all 50 expert stages without using a continue. And these expert stages are no joke. They're just insane, completely nuts. And thankfully, there was a good training tool. You could do each level individually over and over again. And in your restart was immediate if you screwed up, which was great. But yeah, so you had to get through all those stages, and then after you do that, then they give you 10 more extra expert stages, which you also have to continue to finish in your in your same continue, and those are just insane, just completely nuts. And then if you beat those, then you unlock the master stages.
That game was so hard.
And each master stage, thankfully you don't have to. You can do once you get to the master stages, you can use as many lives as you need to because you need them. But there's 10 of them, and I remember I think it was the third master stage. There's 3 different elements to it, and each one of them could have been an extra expert stage. Yeah. And so, because there's this one really, really tall and thin, microscopically thin triangle that you have to go up and over, and then you have to do this spinny thing, and then there's the platforms. So when I finally got to the end of the last master stage, I'm done. I'm good. I just felt really, really good. But
would you, even though that was it took a part of your soul, would you still go back and play Monkey Target though?
Oh yeah, Monkey Target's great.
Because Monkey Target's ever. So
yeah, and Monkey Ball is so deceivingly good. It just looks like it should not be as good as it is. But it's
in no way.
And, it's weird. I remember thinking that exactly. That looks like a stupid game,
right?
And I went and played. I'm this is pretty fun. I really like this. And I never got to the master stage. I got to the expert stages, started going through I got it. Didn't like it that much. Right. But my buddy the other day showed me the speed run of that game.
Oh, I bet it's insane.
It's just crazy.
So they make mistakes.
Yeah.
A ton. You can't not.
Yeah.
It's so... Yeah.
But the precision on that, I'm sure that my GameCube controllers have taken quite a few hits from Smash Brothers, just the thing. But even just the minute things that we had to do with that game, that takes its own toll as well. It's crazy. But
that's cool.
Anyway, that's my number one, Super Monkey Ball.
All right. My number one is getting 100% completion on F-Zero GX. Just kidding. No one's ever done that.
I was just about to get home. You're like, are you kidding me?
Nobody's ever done that. No way. That's
not possible.
If you say you did
I think
that,
I got
you're
through 2 levels of that. Maybe. in the story mode.
Yeah, story mode is dumb. It's dumb. No one's 100% of that game, and if you say that you did, I'll fight you on that one. So, my number one is...
And I wonder why nobody wants it.
I know.
Actually, I kind of do want it.
I got it. So, but my number one is stems from a period of my life in which I was very sick. I had contracted mono back in college. So this was back in 2002. And I spent, which if you don't know what mono does to you, it just makes you very tired amongst a few other things. You get a high fever at the beginning of it. But I spent a month essentially laying on the couch and in bed. And what do you do when you lay on the couch? You play video games. So,
of course.
Only thing to do.
I got mentally stuck on Mario Circuit 1 and Ghost Valley 1 on the Super Nintendo Super Mario Kart.
Oh.
And I couldn't not play those. And I got so good at those. I spent a month just playing those 2 courses as Donkey Kong on Super Mario Kart. And I actually, I got my times in time trial mode so low that I I wound up checking a few months later. I was like, I wonder if like you can find records, and the most meager record sites I could find at the time online, my times were vastly better.
Wow.
So I'm assuming this is an unconfirmed. I had a world record, but in reality, I bet I was at least in the top 1% of 1%
Wow.
in the world on those two courses. I wound up seeing about a half year later times posted that were just ahead of mine. But I still say that for a small period of time, I had a world record on 2 different courses in Super Mario Kart. So
Awesome.
that's my number 1.
And you don't believe about Champions Road? Come on.
Nope. Right. That's great. Cool. All right. So that is our top 5 list. Next up, we're going to have what we've been playing as well as a review of Monster Hunter by Luke. So here we go. Next up is what we've been playing. All right, what we've been playing. I'll take the lead on this one. I've been playing, you guessed it, Dusty Diamond. No, that might happen later today. But I've actually been playing, you guessed it, Octopath Traveler. I'm still just loving that game. I've finished every character's chapter 2, and I'm into the chapter 3s of each character. And that game there's so many things, so many layers to it that are great, and the combat system it keeps you on your toes every single battle. There's no really, as long as you're close to each area you enter, it'll say danger level, and it'll give like level 26, and if your characters, as long as your characters are within like 5 levels of that, it's like even above it, it's tough. And if you're like 5 levels below that, you just go, nope, I'm not touching that. That's going to be really hard. So but the only thing I'm going to add about that is I wound up coming across this person who had this item, and you could one of your character's path actions is to steal, and another one is to purchase. And so I tried to see what it would cost to purchase this amazing bow and arrow from this character I came across, and it said not for sale. I'm like, oh, but I could steal it at a 3% success rate. If you fail on any of your path actions more than 5 times, you have to pay a restoration fee at the local tavern for the barkeep to like, hey, I'll spread good word about you and restore your reputation. And it's like 8,000 gold to do that, depending on it can be less depending on the village you're in. But I was like, okay, this is worth it. I can actually steal this bow. I don't know how. I remember thinking that the stats on it looked like they'd be pretty good. I didn't compare them to mine, but I was like 3%, whatever. I'm going to do this. So I went to a save point that was relatively close and kept running back to it. Fail. Reputation lost. I'm not paying to restore it. Reload the game. And then I did that until I got the bow. That bow and arrow is out of this world good. I'm just lighting people up with Honnet now. So anyways, been playing a lot of Octopath Traveler. I actually played one game of Fortnite. I don't know if I'm going to... it's still fun. I don't know if I'm going to play it much anymore, though. But it's fun. So I played that, and I've also still been playing that game on my phone called Sorobo that my cousin, first cousin, second, I don't know how the first and second work. Yeah. But I've been playing that, and that game it's just deceivingly great. It's really good. It's almost like pool, but it's it's really hard to be good at it. And then my brother, who lives in St. Louis right now, and he's like I don't have a ton of friends down here yet, and I don't have. He's just like, I just go home and I play games or watch TV. So he sent me a score that I was just like, okay, that's dumb. Like, I thought I was doing really well at this, but he's like way better than me at it. So anyways, that's what I've been playing.
Awesome. So for me, kind of hodgepodge of a lot of things. I played through Oxenfree this last week or two. Have you heard of that?
I have.
I think it's a kind of interesting. I almost compare it to like Stranger Things the game before Stranger Things, but I think it came out with that. So it's, you're these kids you go to this island. There's like five high school students, and the idea was just to go there and kind of have a party, hang out, whatever. But because it's kind of an abandoned island, but there's all of a sudden you stumble upon all these events, these crazy weird stuff starts happening, and you're like, is this like some kind of supernatural kind of thing, or is this like just technology or whatever it is? And so it's this unraveling this mystery. It's not super long. It's probably 5 hours, maybe 5-6 hours, and it was a fun little thing to go through. I wasn't super satisfied with the ending, but most of those games kind of like that are like that. So, but the gameplay was fun. It has a cool dialogue system. It's very much kind of like a Telltale game, in that there's just kind of, as you're traversing the island from one place to another, you and maybe one or two other people are talking, and they give you options that you can choose while you're doing it. But one nice thing is that you can you can interrupt the conversation before your friend who's talking is finished. So that they kind of give you that option. My only thing that I didn't really like about it was that sometimes it seemed like you've got these 3 options that you can choose from for dialogue, and they let you interrupt. But then, like, if you want to just it's common for those types of games to have a timer for you, but it just seemed like sometimes they wouldn't. The person that I'm supposed to be responding to wouldn't even finish their thing before they're like, "Oh, it's gonna fade away." I was like, "But what am I gonna?"
Mm-hmm.
So they're like, "Yeah, you gotta do something even before they finish." So I felt that was a little weird, but other than that, it was fun. And I also played a game called Abzu. This is not on a Nintendo platform, but it's from some of the people who made Journey on the PlayStation. It's very, very similar to that, except it's underwater, and it's gorgeous, just beautiful. It's a short game; it's only 2 or 3 hours long, but you're underwater, and there's just all these huge, seas of vibrant seaweed and fish, and different types of things. You can ride fish and do that. And there's some like ancient civilization type things you're sort of figuring out as you go, but really it's basically Journey underwater.
That's awesome.
It's pretty good. It's not quite as impactful as Journey was, but it was still really fun to go through.
Looking at pictures of it, it looks great.
Mm-hmm. And then let's see, continue to play some more Picross 2, S2, I guess.
Yeah, it seems like every time I see you log onto the Switch, I go and see what Brad's playing, and it's like, oh, Picross again. Okay.
Yeah. Like I said, I just play usually 10 minutes or so before I go to bed or something, just do a puzzle or two, and
cool.
That's good. And then more Zelda, of course, because I never stop playing that game.
Yeah.
I still haven't gotten the Korok mask, and I'm just shy of 600 Korok seeds, so I'm pressing on.
Cute.
Yeah. Shut up. Did you get that before the Korok? Did you do that without the Korok mask? Did you get all of them? Go away.
Man, cool.
That's what I've been playing.
What I've been playing, consistently play League of Legends.
Yeah.
So I play some League of Legends. Looking forward to. I watch a lot of League of Legends too. So if you're esports people, I'm looking forward to watching semifinals and North America today. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Been going through Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep. Just started that last night. Super fun. Looking forward to figuring out some of the story. That game, if anyone knows anything about the storyline for that game,
I played the first game, and I've wanted to do more because I like the first one, but there's so much to do if I'm ever going to get to 3,
Yeah, well, some of them I think are permissible to skip.
Okay.
You don't need to play Recoded. It's not a good game. All right. So, but yeah, there's I'm having fun going through that. Started Octopath, need to continue it, and Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate.
Which should we just segue into that then?
Sure.
All right. So Luke is actually one of the reasons we're having him guest host today is because we wanted to have a review of Monster Hunter, and Luke has played it. So. Speaking from
we haven't. I've never played a Monster Hunter game in my life, and everything I hear about it makes me think that I would not like it. but I'm happy for those people who
really
those people.
Those people.
Those people. Wow, rad.
Wow.
Yeah, I've only played the demo on the Wii U, and I get the appeal. I don't know if I have the time to sink into it based on my interests, but
that's a major thing.
I do get the appeal to it. Similar to me, it's like Pokemon. Like I get why people love this. It didn't catch me, but that's not to say it may still. So, but let's talk about it. So, first impressions upon like playing the game. Like when you first got into it, what did you think?
Or maybe for those who may not be familiar with Monster Hunter, 10-second, 30-second summary of the game? What kind of game is it?
30-minute fights.
No, if you're bad. So Monster Hunter, it's not about the story, it's about the gameplay. The story is generally pretty bad. There's not a whole lot going on. It's all about the gameplay, and it's a blast. It is so much fun to feel like the most powerful dude or chick in the world and beat the crap out of these ginormous monsters with parts of other monsters.
And are these monsters terrorizing people, or are you just going out and killing them?
Yeah, well, that's a huge debate. So that's kind of how the story works, right? So, I started in Try. I went back and played the other ones, but the first one I played was Try for the Wii, and it was... you hear like this rumbling and you're like, oh, what's that rumbling going on? And you think it's these monsters. Oh, it's not. It's this ginormous freaking thing called the Cedius. I think that's how you pronounce it. Underneath the oceans, and you have to swim alongside it, and it's the worst fight in any of the games. It's awful. It's not hard. It's so boring, though.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, it's they somehow justify it, but I don't really care about the story. Sometimes it's like in the Monster Hunter world, it's all about trying to discover more about this new world of monsters and stuff, which just came out for the PC, and it was out in, I think, January for the PS4 is when I got it. And the gist of the game is, look, you're this little tiny guy, and he's got this wimpy little armor and this tiny little weapon, or big weapon, but kind of looks janky.
Right.
And you slowly, the more you kill, the more you upgrade. And it's not an RPG. A lot of people call it an RPG. You don't level up in Monster Hunter. Well, you don't level up in the traditional sense of, I have stats.
Right.
That my strength went up because
you level up similar to like Link and Zelda.
Yeah, kind of.
Getting new equipment.
Yeah, you get new stuff, and that's what makes you stronger, and that's how you go through the game. You collect more things by killing more things. So some people, their big complaint with the game is it's a farm fest, but my argument with the game is the quests are so much fun to fight these monsters. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
So how does this one feel compared to other Monster Hunters that you've played? Like, control-wise and, like, look...
For the Switch one we're talking? Okay. Well, from what I've seen over time, Monster Hunter has gotten more and more fluid. They've added more things and changed things to make things feel the same, but better.
Okay.
And...
That's cool.
When Generations came out, Monster Hunter Generations for the 3DS in 2016, I think it came out, they added this totally new thing to it called hunting styles. So not only did you have a choice of 14 or whatever different weapons, each weapon had 4 different styles based on how you wanted to play.
Interesting.
So they had guild style, which is basically the same as all the other games. They had striker style, which is like, hey, we're going to simplify, this is how they explain it, but it's different for each weapon. They take away some of your combos and make your more simple attacks do more damage. So it's like, hey, you want to play a little simpler, just beat them up, that's Striker. And the big thing was you could use more hunting arts with Striker. Then they had Adept, which was called Bushido in the Japanese version, and it was when you roll away from a monster, if you got hit during that roll animation, you got an extended invincibility frame, and then you entered this state called your Adept state, and your attacks got empowered. So it kind of rewarded you for playing really risky towards a monster.
Only when you rolled. Only when you got hit by rolling.
It was called Adept dodging. Yes.
Huh.
It was really kind of an interesting concept for those, because it rewarded you for being right in their face, and then you got stronger for timing your iframes correctly, which worked really well for weapons like Hammer, for instance. I really liked Adept Hammer. And then they had another style called, what was the other one? Aerial, which they added mounting to the game, which is kind of cool. You get on the back of a monster and can knock it down.
Cool.
So that changed things a lot. The big thing I should talk about in relation, a lot of people hate this game in the traditional Monster Hunter community right now. the one for the Switch. I've seen a lot of bad reviews on it, and I think the reasoning is it came out too late. Okay. This is, some would say, an expansion of generations. They added more monsters, more hunts, harder monsters, more weapons, all that stuff. Same story. Nothing radically different. But the problem is they released it 2 years after it came out, and in that time they came out with a whole other game called Monster Hunter World, which came out for the PS4 and Xbox and PC, and they made a lot of really great improvements in that game, some would argue. Some don't like the changes, but
quality of life stuff.
Yeah, that makes the game way easier, makes it look better, all these things. I loved Monster Hunter World, but I also love this one, but I've played games before this.
Sure.
A lot of people, their first game was Monster Hunter World because it was like, it looked pretty, you know, it sold so many copies, it was available on PC and PlayStation and Xbox rather than, you know, I gotta go get a handheld Nintendo console, I'm good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And now that it's back to handheld Nintendo consoles, I feel like some of these people who are used to the style of life changes in World, that they saw it as an improvement, and they've never played some of these old games, they're like, what is this game?
Yeah.
Why would I spend money on this? So I understand their beefs about it. However, if you've played another Monster Hunter game, this is one of the best out there. I think it's super fun.
Cool.
I think the monster fights are really difficult. I like the challenge. I like the creativity of the weapons. I like a lot about it.
How's the music in it?
It's the same as all the other ones.
Sure. Which is to say...
Great. I like it. It's
cool.
very catchy. It gets caught in my head. I
Nice.
sing with it. It's fun.
Okay.
It's good music. I like the soundtrack.
So far, with your experience of the game, what would you give it a score out of 10?
I guess it's a matter of perspective. For me, I think the game's an 8.
Cool.
You know, I like it a lot. My big warning for people, though, is if you've played World and you're expecting to play Monster Hunter World on your Switch, this is not what you're getting.
Okay.
It's different. It's significantly different.
Now, you said earlier that you were going to say something about the multiplayer aspect of it.
Oh, yes. So that's another thing that Monster Hunter World brought in a lot of... Since it was so easy to play online as opposed to, like, you know, people playing on 3DS or even before, if you're playing Monster Hunter 2 and 1, you know, no one was really... It was much harder to play online than it is nowadays, where you're like, who doesn't have a PlayStation Pro membership or whatever it's called, PlayStation Plus, you know? Everyone was playing online, and they made it so easy for people to come help you. You even had a thing called an SOS flare. So,
cool.
like, you'd be like, I'm going to lose. I can't beat this guy. SOS flare. And it actually created really bad players in the game.
Yeah.
Because they'd be like, that thing's hard. I'm scared. SOS flare.
Yeah.
And then people would come in and they would stand in the back.
Oh.
And, you know, for me, like I said earlier, Monster Hunter has this really brutal learning curve. I remember the first time I fought a large monster. And it was like, he can't be that much harder. And then I die and I go, what the heck? How do I even hit him? You know, and I was using the Great Sword, which is really slow and kind of chunky if you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
And it took a long time to figure out how to work the game. But you learn, as you guys know, from dying over and over and over and over again. You know what I mean?
Right.
And a lot of people were impatient and they didn't want to, the game's dumb because this guy's impossible to kill unless you bring your 3 friends.
Yeah, no.
It's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, like, people are saying, me and my buddies, there's a monster in the game called the Nergigante, you know, and it's supposed to be like their flagship monster, the big, scary one. And people are saying, me and my friends took 40 minutes to kill this with 4 people. And then there's videos of people on YouTube beating it in 50 seconds with 1 person. You know what I mean? Like, it makes you go, okay, the monster's not broken. You have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have no clue.
This isn't by no means an all-encompassing, like, blanket statement, but I think there is a large chunk of young gamers that have grown up on, like, games that are just easy. And we were born in the fire. Like, we learned to, like, NES.
Battled.
Yeah. NES hard. Like, where back in the day when longevity of life, you know, the lifespan of you playing a game was
Arcades.
difficulty. It was
Right.
just, I mean, Contra is not a long game. Super Mario Brothers is not a long game, but you're going to die a lot learning how to play it, and that's where I feel like we were born into that. So
Right.
So,
So
and we had the patience to be like, oh, I got 6 worlds in, and now I'm starting at the beginning of World 1.
yeah,
Okay, let's do this.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'd be like, I'm out.
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
again, it's quality of life changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
people go back and this game's harder. Monster Hunter World is not that hard if you played another Monster Hunter game.
Sure.
It's really not.
Yeah.
And I think that's because they knew, like, okay, everyone in the Brothers going to play this game. We gotta throw them
Make
a
it more
bone
accessible.
here.
Yeah.
You know? And now they come to this and people are going, oh, that guy's impossible. And, oh, G rank, so it goes low rank, high rank, G rank. G rank's the hardest stuff. They go, G rank's impossible. It's not meant to be played with one person. Excuse me? That's
Classes in session, kids.
right. Yeah, it's just it's kind of silly to me.
Yeah.
When you've played through all the other games, except for Stories. I haven't played Stories. For those who love Monster Hunter Stories, sorry, haven't gone there. But it's people not willing to
Put in the time.
or just take a big old hit from a monster.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they rage too quickly.
Yeah.
You know, and I also see that a lot in games nowadays too.
Yeah.
I don't like that some games are too widespread and that everyone can play them and be on the same level as the person next to them because they think they're better and there's all
Right.
that. But anyway, soapbox off this one.
Yeah. All right.
Fair enough.
Cool. Well, I think that brings us to the show wrap up.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously we want to thank, Luke for coming in and being part of this too. It's super fun to have you here. So if you've been listening, if you've made it this far, hour and 26 minutes in, we hope you've enjoyed it. We, as always, we like to kind of direct you to our various channels. Obviously, you can find this on all kinds of podcasting services. You can find it on the YouTubes, and you can find us on Twitter _directors. You can write in and be part of the show to Nintendo Directors Podcast at gmail.com, which reminds me, I need to double check. I don't think
Nobody
we have-
emailed, don't
Nobody mailed. I'm just let's be.
Am I
real.
nobody? I've been sending emails for months.
Oh man. Yeah. Well, we finally answered your. No, it's
Fine,
good.
no one else is asking. Get Luke.
Yeah. So our and they couldn't get him. So okay. So our next show should be coming up on September 20th. That's 2 Thursdays from when you're gonna get this. But yeah, I think that's about it.
Cool.
Good show.
Yeah. All
Well,
right.
thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.